Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to step into a life of unstoppable power and absolute control? I want you to feel this in your bones. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every time you trusted the wrong person, every time you felt exposed, overlooked, or underestimated, it's all led you to this exact moment. Because today, I'm going to give you a message that can completely transform your life, starting with the way you protect your most valuable asset. Here's the brutal truth. Most people sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They talk too much, they overshare, they hand over their leverage, their secrets, their strategy to people who don't deserve it. And then they wonder why doors close, why opportunities vanish, why their dreams feel just out of reach. How many of you have felt that? How many of you have felt the frustration of being one step ahead and yet still being pulled backward by circumstances? Or worse, by people? Well, today, that stops. Because what I'm about to show you is not theory. It's not some fluffy motivational nonsense. This is pure strategy rooted in psychology, human behavior, and neuroscience that will allow you to take control of your life, protect your assets, and move forward with unstoppable clarity and momentum. The topic is simple, but make no mistake, the impact is massive. 6 things you should never tell anyone. And yes, that means exactly what it sounds like. If you want results, if you want to dominate your life in 2026 and beyond, you need to learn when to speak, and more importantly, when to stay freaking quiet. By the time we're done, you will know what to guard, who to trust, and why silence, strategic, deliberate, powerful silence, is one of the most valuable weapons you can ever master. And here's the promise. If you take even one of these principles seriously, if you internalize it, if you put it into action, your life will never be the same. Doors will open, opportunities will multiply, your influence will grow, your momentum will be unstoppable. I want you to feel the urgency. Because this isn't a drill. The people who succeed, the people who dominate, the people who rise above mediocrity, they act decisively, they implement immediately. They protect their energy, their strategy, and their future. And that is exactly what I want for you today. To leave this moment committed, empowered, and ready to take massive action. So if you're ready, let's dive in. Starting with first thing, guard your money, face silence builds. Wealth, guard your money. Listen to me carefully, because this is one of the most overlooked breakthroughs in personal power. Most people treat money like it's a casual conversation topic, like the weather, like something that can be casually shared. And that mindset is why so many brilliant people sabotage themselves. Your money is your identity. It is not just numbers in an account. It is a reflection of your discipline, your vision, your capacity to create value in the world. When you talk about it carelessly, when you reveal your income, your savings, your debts, your wins, your losses, you are giving other people permission to define your worth, and I promise you, nobody else is qualified to do that. Not your friends, not your colleagues, not even your family. Your identity around money is the foundation of everything else. If you believe that money is something casual, something to gossip about, something to compare with others, you are living in scarcity. Scarcity is a mindset, not a bank balance. And scarcity destroys people faster than any bad investment ever could. High achievers, those who dominate in their careers, their businesses, their industries, they treat money like a sacred instrument. They understand that it is energy, and energy must be directed, it must be managed, it must be protected. And the first principle of that is silence. Silence is not just keeping quiet. Silence is strategic power. Silence is a form of leverage that most people never learn. When you share how much you earn, when you boast about your bonuses, or when you lament about your debt, you are giving someone else a lever. Someone else can feel envy, resentment, or superiority. And those emotions are more dangerous than anything external. Human beings are wired to respond unconsciously to what they perceive about others. Money activates ancient instincts, envy, greed, comparison. They are forces embedded in our brains for survival reasons. But in modern life, they become sabotage. People compare what they have to what you have. They feel small, they feel resentful, and then quietly, without even realizing it, they act in ways that can block your opportunities, dilute your influence, and steal your momentum. I want you to hear this and feel it in your bones. Your money is your silent weapon. The moment you stop sharing, the moment you stop giving people the ammunition to undermine you, your financial life begins to expand. Suddenly, you stop fighting invisible battles with everyone around you. You stop defending yourself against comparison, jealousy, and judgment. You stop having to explain why you're doing what you're doing, why you're investing where you're investing, why you're making the choices you're making. Instead, you get to act from a place of absolute authority. You get to act from a place of power because your decisions are informed by your vision, not by someone else's opinion. Think about the people you admire who have built massive wealth. They didn't get there by telling everyone what they earned. They didn't get there by announcing every deal, every investment, every win. They created systems. They built leverage. They moved quietly with massive, decisive action. And that is exactly what you must do. Protect your money like it is your identity, because it is. The way you treat your money signals to yourself and to the world how serious you are about your life. If you are casual with it, you are casual with your vision. If you are careful with it, if you guard it fiercely, you are signaling to yourself that you are a person of discipline, of foresight, of unstoppable momentum. And here's the thing that most people never grasp. Money is deeply tied to your emotional state. Your emotional mastery dictates how money flows in your life. If you are anxious, fearful, or reactive about it, your money reflects that chaos. If you are deliberate, confident, and strategic, your money multiplies. Every time you think about sharing financial details with the wrong person, ask yourself, am I giving away power that is mine? Because every piece of information you reveal is a potential loss of influence, a potential attack vector, a crack in your armor. Stop giving away your armor. Guard your money. Guard it with your discipline. Guard it with your identity. Guard it with your belief that you are the only person fully qualified to manage it. You also have to understand the social dynamics at play. When you talk about money, you trigger unconscious programming in everyone around you. Some people will feel threatened, some people will feel inferior, some people will feel superior and start testing you, manipulating you, or even trying to control your choices. And even if they don't consciously act against you, the energy in the room shifts, your momentum slows down. You spend time defending yourself instead of executing. You spend energy justifying your decisions instead of building. You create friction where there could be flow. Silence removes all of that friction. Silence creates an invisible field of power around you. People know you have resources. People know you are successful, but they don't know how much. And that uncertainty works in your favor because it keeps you in control. This is about creating a mindset of absolute mastery. A mindset where you understand that every word you speak is a tool or a weapon. You don't need to talk about money to prove your worth. You don't need to share numbers to validate your success. You don't need approval from anyone. Your identity is your own. Your belief systems dictate your results. And when you stop oversharing, when you protect your financial life like the most sacred asset you own, something incredible happens. Your confidence explodes, your clarity sharpens, and your momentum accelerates beyond anything you thought was possible. And make no mistake, this is not about being secretive for fear. This is about being strategic for dominance. This is about taking control of the environment you operate in. This is about using silence as leverage to move faster, smarter, and stronger. When you guard your money, you are guarding your dreams. You are protecting your capacity to execute, to expand, to invest, to innovate, to create legacy, level, impact. The decision to guard your money is a decision about who you are as a person, how you define yourself, and how you operate in the world. It's a declaration that you will not allow the chaos, envy, or weakness of others to derail you. Every time you feel the urge to talk about what you earn, pause. Every time you feel the impulse to compare, to share, to justify, to explain, remind yourself, this is my identity, this is my leverage, this is my power. And power, my friends, is never revealed carelessly. Power is claimed, exercised, and protected. And when you claim your power around money, your financial trajectory begins to align with your highest potential. Your decisions become sharper, your risks become smarter, your opportunities multiply, and most importantly, your life starts moving on your terms. Your wealth is not just what's in the bank. It's the reflection of your discipline, your focus, your ability to manage yourself and your environment. The moment you guard your money, the moment you stop oversharing, the moment you treat it like sacred energy instead of gossip fodder, you step into a higher version of yourself, a version that is unstoppable, unshakable, and destined for massive results. Control your exit phase. Speak only when ready. Control your exit. Most people fail because they give away their timing, their plans, their strategies before they even have the leverage to act. Listen carefully. because this is a breakthrough in personal power, in identity, and mastery of your destiny. Your life is not a rehearsal. Every move you make, every word you speak, every intention you reveal either expands your influence or erodes it. And when it comes to major transitions, quitting a job, leaving a business, stepping into a new role, or pivoting in life, people make the fatal mistake of announcing their plans too early. They assume transparency equals trust. They assume sharing will protect them. And that is the fastest way to give away your power. Your exit is not just a decision. It is a statement of identity. When you control your exit, you are saying to the world, I am in charge. I define the timing, I define the terms. But when you leak that information, even casually, you give someone else the opportunity to manipulate, delay, or destroy your plans. Human beings are wired to respond to leverage. The moment someone knows you are planning to leave consciously or unconsciously, they begin testing your resolve, adjusting their behavior, creating obstacles, and sometimes, without you even noticing, they hijack the trajectory you intended. And most people never see it coming. Think about the most powerful people, the entrepreneurs, the executives, the leaders who dominate their industries. They never reveal their exits until they are ready to execute. They move quietly, they strategize in the shadows, they line up their resources, they secure their alliances, and then when the timing is perfect, they act with unstoppable force. That is the principle you must internalize. Silence is leverage, and timing is power. Your identity around change determines how smoothly you navigate life's transitions. If you see change as casual, if you believe it is acceptable to discuss every step, every doubt, every plan with everyone, you are living in a reactive state. Reactivity kills opportunity. Reactivity surrenders control. But when you cultivate a mindset of disciplined foresight and absolute ownership, your transitions become a force field of power. You are no longer at the mercy of external opinions or hidden agendas. You are operating from the center of your own authority, and that is unstoppable. Let me break it down for you. When you talk about leaving a job too early, people don't just react. They calculate your colleagues, your competitors, your superiors. They start predicting your moves. They assess what you're worth, how replaceable you are, what gaps your departure would create. Suddenly, you are in a game that someone else designed, and the rules are stacked against you. But when you master the art of control, when you guard the knowledge of your exit, you play by your rules, you define the game, you move on your timing, and that creates momentum that cannot be replicated or blocked. Identity is at the core of this principle. Who are you as a person? When you make big transitions, are you someone who leaks information, seeks validation, and reacts to external pressures? Or are you someone who acts decisively, strategically, and with laser focus on outcomes? Your identity determines your results. People who succeed at massive scale see themselves as owners of their narrative, owners of their path, owners of the timing of every major decision. And that ownership is expressed through silence, through strategic restraint, and through a relentless commitment to executing on their vision. You must also understand the emotional dynamics at play. The moment someone knows you are planning to leave, envy, fear, and insecurity enter the room. Some people will want to manipulate you, some will want to block you, and some will quietly test you to see how committed you are. Most of the time, these forces operate below the surface. You don't see them coming until they've already shaped your environment. But if you keep your intentions private, you prevent these emotional disruptions from hijacking your trajectory. Silence becomes a protective shield. Silence becomes a force multiplier. Silence allows you to execute with precision, clarity, and speed. And here's a psychological truth most people miss. When you control your exit, you control perception. People will never underestimate you. People will never feel they can corner you. They may speculate, they may guess, but they cannot manipulate what they do not know. Your power grows exponentially when your plans are secret until execution. And this is true not just in business, it is true in life. Moving in secrecy, acting decisively, controlling timing, and protecting your strategy elevates you in every domain: relationships, career investments, leadership, and personal growth. Action is the ultimate expression of this principle. You don't just guard your plans for the sake of guarding them. You prepare. You align resources, sharpen skills, build networks, and position yourself so that when you finally act, there is no resistance that can stop you. And the world moves out of your way when you operate from that level of certainty and control. Your timing becomes your leverage, your movement becomes unstoppable. Your exit becomes legendary. Emotional mastery is critical here. Most people overshare because they cannot handle the anxiety of change internally. They need validation. They need support. They need reassurance. But high performers, people who dominate their industries, their organizations, and their lives, handle the emotional turbulence internally. They don't leak it to others. They process it, they channel it, they convert it into clarity, focus, and unstoppable momentum. They understand that external validation is irrelevant when your internal compass is calibrated to massive success. And let's talk about momentum. Every day you operate with secrecy. Every day you manage your exit like a master strategist. Your momentum compounds. Each step forward is protected. Each decision is deliberate. Each opportunity is yours to seize because no one else knows the map, the timing, or the plan. And that momentum, it's magnetic. It attracts allies. It repels distractions. It forces alignment, and it builds unstoppable results over time. You also have to internalize the neural principle here. Your brain reacts to what it perceives about your life. When you leak your exit plan, your mind feels pressure, anxiety, and second guessing because it is wired to anticipate social consequences. When you keep your plans private, your brain operates from clarity, from certainty, and from control. Your neurochemistry aligns with your strategy. Your focus intensifies, your confidence skyrockets, and your results accelerate. Protect your power. Authority is not a gift. Protect your power. This is non-negotiable. And if you don't understand it, it will destroy you faster than any external obstacle ever could. Most people live their lives as if authority and influence are something to hand out casually, like invitations to a party, like favors to friends or convenience for family. And then they wonder why their plans unravel, why their leverage disappears, why their results plateau or reverse. Authority is not a gift. Power is not a favor. Power is a tool. And if it is mismanaged, if it is delegated without mastery, if it is placed in the hands of someone whose incentives don't perfectly align with yours, it becomes a weapon pointed directly at your future. Your identity is tied to your power. Who you are as a person is measured by your ability to control the forces that affect your life. And authority, legal authority, financial authority, operational authority is one of the most critical forces when you treat it casually. When you hand it out without rigorous evaluation, you are handing someone else the keys to your life. And most people do this without even realizing the consequences. They think trust is enough. They think loyalty will protect them. They think good intentions are sufficient. And that is exactly where the trap lies. Human nature does not operate on your intentions. It operates on incentives, opportunity, and leverage. Let me be blunt. You cannot assume that someone else will act in your best interest just because you wish they would. Every time you give legal or financial power to someone else, every time you delegate control over something critical without ensuring alignment, you are introducing risk into your life. And the most painful part is that these risks are invisible until it's too late. A signature, a shared account, a power of attorney, a delegated decision, these are not conveniences. These are instruments of leverage. And if misused, they can redirect your trajectory, undermine your authority, and erase years of effort in an instant. This is about identity. Ask yourself, am I someone who protects my life and my legacy with discipline? Or am I someone who assumes others will act responsibly? The answer will determine the quality of your results. People who dominate their industries, who lead organizations, who build empires, they understand this principle at a core level. They treat every piece of authority as sacred. They evaluate alignment, incentives, and consequences before they ever transfer control. They create systems to manage risk, to monitor outcomes, to maintain visibility, and to ensure that every delegated task amplifies their power rather than erodes it. Emotional mastery plays a massive role here. Most people delegate authority because they feel convenience, comfort, or pressure. They want to avoid confrontation. They want to be liked. They want to feel efficient. But emotional comfort is a luxury that costs far more than people realize. Every time you delegate without proper alignment, you are surrendering control. You are placing your future in the hands of chance. And when authority slips through your fingers, so does momentum. Results begin to plateau. Opportunities vanish, influence diminishes, and frustration compounds. Let me teach you the neuroscience of this. Our brains are wired to conserve energy and reduce conflict, which makes delegation feel attractive. But the cost of misaligned authority is high, because every action of another person carries the potential to alter your environment, your trajectory, your results. When you maintain control, when you guard power, your brain operates in a state of mastery. You are calm, focused, and decisive. Your decisions are deliberate. Your leverage is intact, and your execution becomes precise. This is why high performers treat authority like a fortress. They protect it, they control it, they monitor it, and they delegate only when incentives are perfectly aligned. Let's talk about discipline. Discipline is the foundation of protecting power. It is the internal standard that says, I will not give my authority to anyone whose actions do not perfectly reflect my vision, my objectives, and my incentives. Discipline is the force that allows you to say no, to resist social pressure, to maintain your standards, even when it's uncomfortable. And that discomfort, that is the crucible in which champions are forged. Because every time you guard your power, you are not just protecting an asset. You are reinforcing your identity as a decisive, unstoppable, strategic human being. You also have to understand leverage power. When mismanaged is a liability, but power, when protected, becomes a multiplier of everything you do. Your decisions accelerate, your influence grows, your opportunities compound. When you protect your authority, you create a field of control around your life that others cannot penetrate. Your future becomes a product of your design, not the whims of external forces. And the beauty of it is, people sense this. They feel the energy of someone who cannot be easily manipulated. They respect it, they align with it, and they amplify your results instead of undermining them. Action is critical. You cannot just think about guarding your power. You must review every area of your life where authority exists: legal, financial, operational, relational. Evaluate alignment, implement systems, create accountability, establish monitoring, delegate with strict conditions. And when someone demonstrates misalignment, act decisively to reclaim control. Indecision is a killer. Hesitation is a killer. A casual approach is a killer. But decisive action creates momentum, builds respect, and reinforces your identity as someone who is unshakable, unstoppable, and unassailable. Your identity as a protector of power is not selfish. It is strategic. It is a recognition that your life is valuable, your time is valuable, and your results are sacred. You are not asking for permission to protect yourself. You are not hoping for cooperation. You are asserting reality. You are the only one qualified to safeguard your future. And when you internalize this, you operate from a place of absolute certainty, absolute authority, and absolute momentum. Emotional mastery is reinforced by this practice. When you protect your power, you reduce anxiety, you minimize surprises, and you stabilize your environment. You no longer react impulsively to external pressures or misaligned actions. Instead, you operate from clarity, you anticipate outcomes, you design systems, and you create a life where execution is unstoppable and results are inevitable. Momentum compounds when you consistently protect authority. Every strategic decision to safeguard your influence increases your leverage. Every boundary you set amplifies your capacity to act decisively. Every alignment check ensures that resources flow toward your vision, not away from it. And over time, your life becomes a reflection of your disciplined, strategic identity. A life where power is protected, momentum is unstoppable, and results are inevitable. Let me remind you again, authority is not a gift. Power is not a favor, it is a tool. And like any tool, it must be wielded with mastery, precision, and discipline. Every time you hand it over without alignment, every time you fail to protect it, you invite chaos into your life. But every time you guard it, control it, and deploy it strategically, you multiply your results, expand your influence, and accelerate your trajectory. This is the principle that separates mediocrity from mastery. Ordinary people give away their authority and wonder why life does not deliver. Extraordinary people protect it, and the world bends to their decisions. Their momentum compounds, and the results become unstoppable. Master your reputation, keep opinions. Private master your reputation. This is one of the most powerful breakthroughs in personal and professional power, and yet most people overlook it. They treat their opinions like casual conversations, as if every passing thought must be shared, as if expressing resentment, frustration, or criticism is harmless. Let me tell you something. Every opinion you voice is a tool, and every opinion you reveal is a potential weapon. Your reputation is not a byproduct of luck. It is not something that others decide for you casually. Your reputation is built on every interaction, every word, every disclosure, and every moment you control what the world knows and what it does not know. Once that reputation is compromised, rebuilding it is painful, costly, and slow. And in many cases, it is impossible. Your identity is intertwined with your reputation. Who you are in the world is not just your skill, your knowledge, or your results. It is the perception others hold of your integrity, your consistency, and your judgment. When you reveal your opinions about people, your frustrations with a boss, your resentment toward a colleague, you are essentially giving strangers the ability to define you. And most people are not equipped to hold that knowledge responsibly. Human beings are emotional, reactive, and social. They will take what you share, amplify it, misinterpret it, and sometimes weaponize it without conscious intent. Think about it for a moment. Every negative comment, every casual critique, every "I wish they would" becomes a ripple. One conversation turns into three. 3 conversations turn into 10. 10 conversations turn into a fire you never intended. And suddenly, your reputation, your influence, your career, your relationships, your leverage are all under siege. And all because you failed to exercise restraint. You failed to recognize the strategic advantage of silence. Silence is not weakness. It is dominance. Silence is not submission. It is power. When you choose to keep your opinions private, you take control of your narrative. You decide who sees what, who interprets what, and when. You protect yourself from the invisible sabotage that comes from mismanaged disclosures. And here's the truth. The fewer emotional tools you give to others, the more control you have over your life. You have more influence, more authority, more freedom, and more momentum. Silence creates space for strategy. Silence creates opportunity. Silence ensures that your reputation is built deliberately, not accidentally. Emotional mastery is critical here. Most people share their opinions impulsively because they want relief from tension. They feel frustrated, they feel hurt, they feel wronged, and they think that venting is harmless. But the moment you vent to the wrong person, you are transferring energy, power, and leverage to someone else. You are essentially inviting chaos into your life. Your opinion, once expressed, is no longer yours. It is now a tool that can be used against you, misrepresented, or amplified. People may not intend harm, but the effects are the same. And when your reputation is compromised, your ability to execute influence and lead is weakened. Here's the psychology behind it. Human brains are wired for social evaluation. People unconsciously track who says what, who criticizes whom, and who aligns with whom. When you openly express negative opinions, you trigger assessments in the minds of others. Can I trust this person? Are they loyal? Do they gossip? Are they stable? These judgments happen beneath the surface, often without words, and yet they define your opportunities by controlling what you reveal. By keeping your opinions private, you shape perceptions proactively rather than reactively. You dictate the terms of influence. You become a person whose reputation precedes them, not one whose reputation is built on rumor, gossip, or emotional reaction. Identity reinforcement is key. Who are you? Are you someone who reacts impulsively to emotion, who allows temporary feelings to define your actions? Or are you someone who operates from strategic mastery, who measures every disclosure, who decides what the world knows and when it knows it? Your identity determines your results. High performers do not allow others to redefine them through careless conversations. They protect their reputation fiercely, because they know that their credibility, influence, and leverage are invaluable. Think about leverage. Every opinion you keep private is a piece of leverage in your life. It allows you to negotiate, to influence, to create alliances, to maintain control. Every opinion you reveal carelessly erodes that leverage. Leverage is the difference between being reactive and being proactive. Leverage allows you to act with precision. Leverage allows you to move through life at maximum velocity with minimal resistance. Protecting your reputation by keeping opinions private is one of the fastest ways to preserve and expand leverage in every domain of life. Action is required. It's not enough to understand this principle intellectually. You must integrate it into your behavior. Review your daily interactions. What are you sharing? Are you broadcasting frustrations, complaints, or negative opinions? Are you giving energy to gossip, resentment, or speculation? Every time you do, you are leaking power. Stop it. Commit to strategic silence. Commit to holding opinions privately until they serve a purpose aligned with your objectives. Control your narrative, control your energy, control your reputation. Momentum compounds. When you master this principle, every time you withhold a careless opinion, every time you resist the urge to gossip, every time you choose silence over reaction, you are strengthening your authority, your credibility, and your influence. People notice, they feel it, they respect it, they are drawn to it. And the cumulative effect over time is extraordinary. Your reputation becomes a fortress. Your influence becomes magnetic. Your life moves faster and smoother because you have removed unnecessary friction caused by mismanaged words. Emotional intelligence is reinforced here. You are training your brain to act deliberately rather than reactively. You are conditioning your nervous system to operate from calm strategic power instead of impulsive emotion. You are building the mental strength required to navigate complex social dynamics without compromising your identity or leverage. This is the work that separates those who achieve mediocrity from those who dominate their field. Strategic thinking is critical. You are not hiding. You are not avoiding responsibility. You are not acting out of fear. You are choosing the moment, the audience, and the purpose of every word. You are exercising control over your environment, over your influence, over your future. This is mastery. This is leadership. This is the difference between being a pawn in someone else's game and being the architect of your own destiny. Remember, every moment you keep your opinions private, every choice you make to control your words, every action you take to protect your reputation strengthens your identity as a person of power. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping it. You are no longer at risk of sabotage. You are generating momentum. You are no longer vulnerable to misperception. You are building an unshakable field of influence. And in the world we live in, where everyone talks too much, this is a competitive advantage that cannot be overstated. Your reputation, your identity, your leverage, your momentum, they all depend on this principle. And once you internalize it, once you commit to keeping your opinions private until they serve your objectives, you unlock a level of personal power that most people never even realize exists. Shield your mind phase share. Struggle strategically, shield your mind. This is one of the most transformative breakthroughs you can ever apply in your life. Yet most people ignore it completely. They think vulnerability is a free-for-all, that every struggle, every doubt, every insecurity must be exposed to everyone around them. And the truth is, most people will not carry that weight responsibly. Most people will not hold your struggle with care. Most people will not elevate you. They will exploit the weakness you reveal. Your mind, your emotional energy, your internal state, your psychological landscape, these are the most valuable assets you own. And if you mismanage them, if you overshare, if you expose them carelessly, you are giving away power, momentum, and potential. Your identity is built in the privacy of your internal struggles. Who you are is not just defined by your results, your actions, or your victories. It is defined by how you manage your inner world. Every high performer, every leader, every person who dominates their industry or their craft has mastered the art of selective sharing. They do not announce every insecurity. They do not broadcast every fear. They do not allow their emotional turbulence to control external perception. They process internally. They seek trusted advisors. They develop strategies. And they use their challenges as fuel for growth instead of ammunition for others. Let me break it down. Your mind is your command center. Every thought, every belief, every perception shapes your reality. If you allow your mental battles to be public, you invite chaos. Others unconsciously, or sometimes deliberately, exploit it. Opportunities may be quietly withdrawn, alliances may shift, competitors may sense weakness and move in ways you cannot anticipate. And the most insidious part, sometimes you are sabotaging yourself without realizing it. Every time you overshare your doubts, you reinforce them internally, you give them energy. And the nervous system responds by producing anxiety, hesitation, and indecision. Silence, strategic silence, is the antidote. Emotional mastery is central to this principle. Most people feel compelled to share their struggles because of a need for validation or relief. But high performers understand that validation from the wrong sources is a liability. They know that their mind is sacred territory. They process challenges internally. They work with mentors, coaches, or advisors who are equipped to handle their truth. And they maintain boundaries that protect their energy and their momentum. Your mental state is not a conversation topic. It is the foundation of your power. When you protect it, you are able to operate at maximum efficiency, clarity, and strategic impact. Think about leverage. Every thought you reveal, every insecurity you broadcast, every doubt you share. These are tools in someone else's hands, and leverage is power. If your struggles become public, that power is transferred to others. They can influence you, manipulate you, or simply act differently around you in ways that reduce your capacity to execute. But when you shield your mind, when you manage what is revealed and what is private, you maintain absolute control over your energy and influence. You are no longer a reactive participant in life. You are the architect of your own results. Identity reinforcement is critical. Who are you when faced with inner turbulence? Are you someone who reacts impulsively, who shares without discernment, who allows external feedback to shape internal states? Or are you someone who exercises deliberate control, processes privately, and acts decisively from clarity? The latter is a high performer's mindset. It is a mindset that transforms obstacles into fuel. It is a mindset that converts challenges into momentum. And it is a mindset that separates mediocrity from mastery. Action is not optional. It is required. Begin by auditing your life. Where are you oversharing? Where are you broadcasting struggles that do not need an audience? Who are the people you allow into your inner world? Are they equipped to elevate, to support, to guide, to empower? Or are they energy leaks, amplifying your doubt, reinforcing fear, and slowing your progress? Take control immediately, set boundaries, protect your mental space, guard your emotional energy, decide with certainty who gets access to your truth. And when neuroscience confirms this principle, your brain responds to the environment you expose it to. When struggles are public, your nervous system is in a heightened state of vigilance, anxiety, and emotional reactivity. When your mental battles are contained, processed strategically, and shared only with trusted allies, your brain operates from clarity, calm, and high-level executive function. Your focus improves, your decision-making sharpens, and your ability to take massive aligned action accelerates. Momentum compounds. When you shield your mind, every time you choose strategic sharing, every time you resist the impulse to vent publicly, every time you maintain internal composure, you are reinforcing your power. Your reputation grows as someone of resilience, discretion, and authority. Your influence expands because people sense that you are not easily manipulated, that you operate from strength, that you control your inner world, and that momentum becomes unstoppable. Opportunities flow to you, people align with you. Decisions are clear. Execution becomes precise. Results compound exponentially. Discipline is the backbone of this principle. Shielding your mind requires rigorous self-management, consistent emotional awareness, and deliberate practice. It is uncomfortable at first, because most of us are wired to seek empathy, validation, and support indiscriminately. But mastery is never comfortable. Mastery is the ability to act, despite discomfort, to delay gratification, to protect what is valuable, and to focus on outcomes rather than temporary relief. The discomfort of restraint is the crucible in which true power is forged. Strategic thinking amplifies this principle. Your mind is the ultimate resource, and like any resource, it must be protected, nurtured, and managed. Decide what to share, when to share, and with whom. Build systems to process emotional challenges, privately or with qualified mentors. Convert struggles into learning, into planning, into action. Shielding your mind is not avoidance. It is mastery. It is the deliberate cultivation of strength, clarity, and momentum. Your identity, your leverage, your emotional mastery, and your momentum all depend on this principle. By sharing struggles strategically, you create a field of power around yourself that is resilient, adaptive, and unstoppable. You are no longer at the mercy of others' perceptions, judgments, or misinterpretations. You are no longer reactive. You are proactive. You are decisive. You are the commander of your inner world. And here's the beauty of it. The more consistently you practice shielding your mind, the more disciplined, confident, and empowered you become. Your decisions become sharper. Your execution becomes faster. Your results become inevitable. Your life becomes a reflection of your internal mastery. A life where challenges are transformed into leverage, where struggles are processed into momentum, and where every day is aligned with the highest version of yourself. This is the principle that separates ordinary performers from extraordinary achievers. Ordinary people broadcast struggles, leak energy, and dilute momentum. Extraordinary people protect their mind, manage their inner world, and channel every challenge into growth, influence, and unstoppable results. Lock your access. Face security is non-negotiable. Lock your access. This is not negotiable. And if you fail to master this principle, your entire life can unravel faster than you can imagine. Most people treat access casually. They share passwords. They give out codes. They hand over control of accounts, devices, or resources to people who are convenient, trustworthy in appearance, or simply nearby. And then they act shocked when identity theft, financial sabotage, or strategic manipulation occurs. Security is not a convenience. Security is not optional. Security is a discipline, and it is one of the most direct reflections of personal power, responsibility, and identity. Your identity is your fortress. Who you are is defined not only by what you achieve, but by how you protect the systems that support your life. Every password, every access code, every digital key, every security measure is a direct reflection of how seriously you take your future. When you underestimate this, when you assume others will act responsibly or that mistakes are harmless, you invite chaos. You allow vulnerability to creep into your life, and vulnerability in today's world compounds faster than any external challenge you face. Let me break this down with clarity. Access equals control. Whoever has access can influence outcomes. Whoever has access can manipulate events. Whoever has access can accelerate or destroy momentum. And most people give access casually, trusting that good intentions or social bonds are sufficient safeguards. But trust is not a strategy. Trust is a hope, and hope is a weak foundation for building extraordinary results. High performers, leaders, and people who dominate their industries treat access as sacred. They recognize that security is not an inconvenience. It is a principle of personal power. Emotional mastery is critical here. Most people share access because they want convenience. They want to avoid confrontation. They want to feel liked or helpful. That is a short-term emotional response. But every time you compromise security for convenience, you are sacrificing long-term power. Your nervous system responds to the chaos that follows. Your confidence is undermined, and your ability to execute at maximum velocity diminishes. Protecting access is an emotional and strategic discipline. It aligns your internal state with your external execution. When you lock down your systems, your mind operates with clarity, focus, and certainty. Leverage is embedded in access. Every piece of information you expose, passwords, codes, security questions, or account details, creates leverage for someone else, and leverage is power. If misused, it can destroy years of effort in minutes. But when you secure access, when you implement systems, when you limit exposure, you retain absolute control over outcomes. You ensure that your results are determined by your actions, not by the carelessness or manipulation of others. Strategic security is not paranoia. It is mastery. Identity reinforcement is essential. Who are you when it comes to managing access? Are you someone who reacts impulsively, sharing credentials for convenience, trusting appearances over alignment, risking the integrity of your results? Or are you someone who operates with discipline, who structures every access point, who monitors and controls the flow of information, and who aligns every system with your vision and strategy? Your identity is reflected in your security practices. High performers know that the integrity of their systems is inseparable from the integrity of their results. Action is non-negotiable. Begin with a full audit of your digital and physical access points, passwords, accounts, devices, sensitive documents, financial systems, and any authority that could be misused. Identify vulnerabilities. Implement secure systems, password managers, multi-factor authentication, structured delegation, and monitored access. Reclaim control where it has been carelessly given away. Do not assume convenience is a strategy. Do not assume trust is sufficient. Treat access as sacred and act accordingly. Momentum compounds when you secure access. Every strategic step you take to lock down your systems increases your leverage, expands your influence, and accelerates your results. When access is secure, your energy is liberated. You stop reacting to threats, emergencies, and breaches. You stop wasting time and emotional energy repairing damage caused by preventable mistakes. Instead, you focus fully on execution, innovation, and growth. Your life moves faster, smoother, and with unstoppable force. Neuroscience supports this principle. Your brain is highly sensitive to perceived threats and vulnerabilities. Every unsecured access point triggers a low-level stress response. Even if you are not consciously aware of it, that stress subtly reduces focus, slows decision-making, and diminishes performance. When you secure access, your nervous system relaxes into clarity. Your prefrontal cortex, the executive center responsible for planning, strategy, and high-level decision making, operates at peak efficiency. You act decisively, confidently, and strategically, and the results multiply. Discipline underpins security. Locking your access is not a one-time task. It is an ongoing practice. High performers routinely audit, monitor, and strengthen their systems. They anticipate threats before they arise. They maintain vigilance without paranoia. They embed security into their habits, routines, and mindset. And this consistent practice compounds over time, creating an invisible field of protection around your life, your resources, and your results. Strategic thinking amplifies this principle. Security is not just about protecting what exists. It is about enabling growth. When access is locked, you are free to innovate, take calculated risks, and pursue opportunities with confidence. You no longer waste energy mitigating preventable threats. You no longer operate reactively. Instead, you operate proactively, strategically, and decisively. Your life becomes a direct reflection of your ability to control what matters most. Your identity, your leverage, your emotional mastery, and your momentum all converge on this principle. Every time you secure an account, every time you implement a system, every time you restrict access to the right people under the right conditions, you reinforce your identity as a decisive, disciplined, unstoppable human being. You are no longer vulnerable to preventable chaos. You are no longer reactive to mistakes or misaligned incentives. You are the architect of your own outcomes, the commander of your environment, and the master of your results. Opportunities, influence, and momentum accelerate when you apply this principle. When access is secure, your energy is available for creation, innovation, and execution. You are not bogged down by unnecessary problems caused by mismanaged trust. You are not distracted by the chaos of preventable mistakes. You operate from clarity, authority, and strategic power. And the compounding effect over time is extraordinary. Your life becomes a reflection of discipline, foresight, and mastery. Your results unstoppable. Your trajectory exponential. Locking your access is not optional. It is a declaration of identity. It is a declaration that you are the only person qualified to safeguard your life, your resources, and your future. It is a declaration that convenience will never trump strategy, that trust without alignment is meaningless, and that discipline is non-negotiable. This is the principle that separates ordinary performers from extraordinary achievers. Ordinary people leak access, waste energy, and compromise results. Extraordinary people lock their access, protect their leverage, and channel every decision, every action, and every opportunity toward unstoppable success. Now I want you to stop for a moment and take it in. Feel it. Everything we've covered today, every principle, every strategy, every breakthrough is not just advice, it's a blueprint for your life. You've learned how to guard your money, control your timing, protect your power, master your reputation, shield your mind, and lock your access. You've learned why silence is one of the most powerful tools you have, why strategic restraint creates leverage, and how your identity is inseparable from the way you manage your energy, your influence, and your results. This is not optional. This is not casual. Your life moves at the speed of the decisions you make right now. If you act, momentum compounds. If you hesitate, opportunity passes. The difference between who you are today and who you can become is the mastery of these principles, the ability to stay disciplined, stay strategic, and stay relentlessly committed to your future. Look inside yourself and ask, am I going to keep giving away my power, or am I going to take control? Your answers define your trajectory. When you apply these 10 principles, you protect what matters, you control your narrative, you amplify your influence, and you execute with unstoppable energy. You become a person who doesn't just react to life, you shape it. You don't just survive, you dominate. You don't just dream, you achieve. And here's the moment of truth. Action is your currency. Knowledge alone changes nothing. Awareness alone moves nothing. It is what you do next, what you implement immediately, that transforms your life. So I want you to commit right now with certainty, with authority, and with momentum. I will protect my power. I will master my mind. I will execute. I will act, because when you act decisively from clarity, when you take responsibility for your money, your relationships, your reputation, and your future, there's nothing that can stop you. You step into your identity as a force of unstoppable energy, and your life will never be the same again. You've got it. That is your blueprint for absolute control, massive momentum, and unstoppable personal power. Subscribe to Tony Robbins track. This is where transformation happens. Drop a comment and share your breakthrough. Declare to the world that you are taking control. Commit to action right now. Stay strategic, stay disciplined, and stay F-faking quiet when it matters most. Remember, your results move at the speed of your actions. Protect your power, guard your energy, execute with certainty, and go make your life extraordinary.